oh yeah. Apparently we're live. Who knows? Who knows in this crazy day and age? Um, okay. Yeah, okay. So we're just gonna do this for a few seconds to wait for the universe to do its thing. In fact, fuck it, the universe is doing its thing and I'm done with waiting. Let's just do this. Let's just jump into it like no one cares. Hello, welcome. This is the Art of Rock. It's Saturday morning. It's just me and Alex this morning, but it's going to be booyah awesome. And we are going to talk about a whole bunch of things. But first and foremost, I just want to do some pimpage. I'd like to acknowledge the Tonga people as the traditional landowners of Los Angeles, and they rock. Every Saturday, we're here. Art of Rock, ANGELSPIT'S Twitch. Follow ANGELSPIT'S Twitch. I'm going to start live streaming again soon. Should be fun. I think that those times are going to be changing a little bit because daylight saving kicks in next Sunday. So your times are going to change a bit, Alex. Everybody else in the USA. This is made possible with ANGELSPIT'S Patreon. Huge thanks to everyone's ANGELSPIT'S Patreon. Keeps me going. As little as $3 a month. You can help keep me and ANGELSPIT going, and there's some really cool stuff going on. Oh, I am excited to roll that out. I will talk more about that later. ANGELSPIT'S BANDCAMP, the new album is on the BANDCAMP. It's called The Bastard Gods, and it's very brutal, and I'm very happy with it, and it's there. Go get it. Yay for that mad rock. If you want some more mad rock, hello, Virtual Temple, and welcome, Nancy. Hold on, I just lost my thing. If you want more amazing music, this is the Industrial Incisions playlist. There's a whole bunch of super cool old school industrial on there, plus a whole bunch of super cool new school industrial on there. Go on Spotify, like it, and if you hear a new artist you like, add it to your Spotify thingy thing. And stop bagging Spotify because it's awesome. And if you want more music, jump on MTV TV. They're on Twitch. Follow those guys. And once we're done here today, we're going to stream on over to MTV TV. MTV TV, because it's just amazing. They also have a Patreon. Follow their Patreon, because we've got to keep them going. And if you've got a video, send it to them. They will play it. And if you watch it, you're going to find your new favorite band, because MTV are amazing and I love them. Welcome to the Art of Rock. I think I hear sirens going on, but hey, man, this is Hollywood. Sirens all the time. Alex, baby, we were talking about maintenance. Tell me more.
Yes, I have the following question. I was actually working on music this week, and I worked on a remix for DJ Underminer, and I wanted to use my old mixing desk as a sound effect, basically to overdrive the preamps and maybe use very aggressive EQ settings to get like a bit more character out of it. And the problem was the punch of the kick drum was affecting the channel of the kick drum, so it sometimes cut out. It was basically like a random generator, but in acoustic. And yeah, if you have any advice on how to clean maybe audio gear mixing desks, what helps to clean contacts that are out of
will it work? Yeah, scratchy contacts.
Funk out.
So this isn't working because I hate Zoom and indeed my life. This is called Deoxit D5. And I bought this like at when they used to have electronics shops. You know, they closed all, I won't go into that. This stuff's great. I use it on my modular stuff whenever like something's scratchy. I'll actually spray this into the knobs and the sliders. And yes, it does. This is brilliant contact cleaner. And there's a whole bunch of different ones you can use, but 99 times out of 100 when something's scratchy, this will fix it, or a similar brand. It's bloody great. So get yourself some of that. Everybody needs this stuff. Man, the amount of gear I've nearly thrown out because I thought, oh no, it's wrecked. And then I sprayed this stuff in it or similar, you know, similar branded contact cleaner. Great stuff. Great stuff. And also I then, once you spray it in there and then you twist the knob heaps, get it in there, and then I'll like hang it in a certain way so it drips out, because I get a bit concerned about the electrical contacts that can be made. But I don't think that's a problem, but I'm not sure, but I'm just paranoid. I won't use the gear for 24 hours afterwards. I'll let it dry. I want to have a tiny spiel about studio maintenance, which is such an exciting, no, it's not, topic. I like to spend a day a month going through gear and fixing it, because I need to do that because I've got so much gear. And a lot of the stuff I fix, well, the only stuff I can actually fix is super simple stuff, like complex stuff. I can't do it. Often I've got dead solders, or solders as Americans call them. Why? There's an L in it. Solder. And I'll put a piece of blue tape over it. Doink. So I can actually remember what's broken and what's going where. And then once a month I'll go through and I'll just pull out my soldering iron or soldering iron. I always think of sodomy when they say soldering. I don't understand why. Anyway, my soldering iron, and just go through and clean stuff up. And maybe I'll make a multiple or something while I'm at it. It's super good fun. That's it. That was a very short-lived and boring conversation. And another thing in LA is you got to keep stuff clean, and you got to keep stuff covered, because LA is so dusty because it's a desert, and there's lots of dust and artifacts and all sorts of stuff, and that gets into the sliders and causes lots of havoc. So I cover stuff with sheets when I'm not using it. Although I haven't done that lately. Like, dude, my Mini Moog, I've got the cover off for like 2 days, and there's already a fine film of, like, wipe your finger across it and there's dust on it, and that shit's getting into it. And that's not good. Yeah. Excellent, Rob.
Dust is also a problem for me, but not because it's so dusty, but because I maybe vacuum not every week, and I need to fix that.
Yeah.
But these things are great if you want to keep dust from assaulting your synthesizers.
Yes. I have several covers, and usually the several covers are up. They're just not right now because I got to do it every day. Like, it's got to become a part of the process. Like, pull the curtain off.
I also got. Oh, sorry.
No, yours.
I got an envelope module where the previous owner sort of abused the envelope out slot, and sometimes the contact doesn't stay in and the cable comes out. Do you have any advice for that?
You may need to replace it. Actually replace the because sometimes, okay, so the actual element in there, if you can get in there, because some of them you can access the actual elements of the plug itself. It's a little spring, that kind of like closes itself over the nib, so that the nib's kind of like resisting when you pull it out, and that bends down. And what you can do is simply bend it up if you can access it. If you can't access it, you'll have to replace it. And considering it's probably soldered onto a board, that's going to be impossible, because you have to find the correct thingy. Another thing you could do is I don't know, stick one in there and replace solder it, but you're going to need a good soldering iron. Get a good soldering iron. You know, man, if you're getting into modulars, one of the first things I think you should get is a good soldering iron, like one of those ones where you can kind of control the heat, and it's got standard the nibs of the soldering iron. They're always replaceable. I got some random one. I've had it for like 10 years. Actually, I've had it the whole time I've been in the US, and I keep going, I'm going to get a new soldering iron, but I don't, because I hardly ever use it, like hardly even once a month. So as a result, I'm soldering with something that has temperature control, says Rob. Good advice. My soldering iron has the tip the size of a thumb. Maybe it's a baby thumb, but it's still a thumb. Red Drac, if anything, try the percussive method. Use a sledgehammer and increase the beating. No, that's terrible advice, Jack, but thank you. Yeah, just pull them out and see if you can wind them in there. I mean, like if is it a dope file?
Yeah. But the really old one, they don't make it anymore.
Well, a lot of their jacks are standard,
Hmm.
and you might be able to get a replacement jack from them. Because if you send them stuff, trade secret, they'll fix it.
Hmm.
And my wasp this week started humming. Like, why are you fucking humming? There might be something, I might have something electrical going on behind it, but it's like, why? Anyway.
I have this other mixing desk where there's like a really, really high-pitched acoustic noise, like not out of the speakers, but out of the acoustically. You don't have to plug it into speakers. It just has this whining sound, and I think it's like a coil breaking. And I need to fix that as well, but I need to contact PreSonus and ask where I can repair their stuff, because it's also out of warranty.
You've had no luck with your PreSonus gear. Yeah, I just noticed you have a lot of trouble with it. Okay. You have my deepest regrets. Why isn't anybody else on today? What the hell is going on? Probably some terrible catastrophes happened and I don't know about it.
Maybe the catastrophe is Halloween parties.
Is what parties?
Halloween parties.
You could be right. But that's a day party.
Yeah, right. It's morning where you are.
Yeah. I didn't get invited to anything because I'm not cool enough. Fuck 'em. Okay. I want to talk about getting back into what you enjoy. Or we could talk about new gear.
Well, maybe let me just interject. It seems silly, but maybe it helps someone. I had this mindset shift where I stopped thinking it should be easy, but I can't do it. So it's hard for me, but I tried anyway, and it really helped. Like just starting things, like the remix I've been putting up for so long. It's just okay. I just try things and see what happens. Maybe that helps someone else. Maybe that's just a me thing, but I don't
So
know how
just
many.
do it.
Yeah, and basically acknowledging that I struggle with it, but just do it. Not having like the what's the English word? Not saying that it should be this way, but just see what happens if I try it.
That's actually really great because I'm kind of in a really similar place right now where I'm going, I want to throw the plan away because it's always, this has got to be on an album and DJs have got to play it and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm trying to think, I just finished a new ANGELSPIT track where I went, fuck it. And it's great. It's an instrumental and it's this big dirgy kind of thing. And it's evil and I love it. And it's like, I want to make more music like this, where you just go into it and you say, it's like, it's kind of like painting. And this is why I love painting. It's sort of so closely related to the songwriting process. Sometimes when I'm doing a painting, in fact, all the time, I pen it out first and then I kind of like paint it and then see what happens. But I want to start doing more abstract stuff again, where it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm going to allow this thing to build up layer by layer. I'm just going to let it happen. And we're going to see what happens and we're going to see where it goes. And it's really nice. It's great therapy. It's fantastic therapy. And trying the same thing with music as well. Like, I don't know where this is going. And that's actually a wonderful feeling that you can have in the creative process, where you ask yourself, what are you doing? And your answer is, I don't know. But I'm just doing it. It's great. I'm seeing where this is going to go. A very, very good friend of mine recently said, you've got to trust the process. And that's so true. And I just keep believing that. And it's like you're adding layer upon layer upon layer, then scratching some layers back, then adding some more layers, then scratching some back, and then maybe ripping the paper and then working with that until something emerges. And that's so exciting. It's really, really exciting. It's like the canvas there's an image in it, and you're trying to find that image. It's like there's gold in the mountain, and you're digging until you find that gold or that ancient structure.
I think
Like,
one of the great sculptors of like Renaissance, maybe Michelangelo or something like that, said that in every piece of marble has like a statue already in it, and you just have to get it out.
yeah. And that's brilliant. And it's like, and then when you transpose that over to the concept of music, it's like every section of air and fragment of time has music in it. Because what you're doing is you're decorating time. Isn't that crazy? You're decorating time. Yeah, spaceships moving through clouds, man. Ice Planet 9000 right there. And the less you know, the more fun it is, and the more you're open to the adventure of discovery. Isn't that interesting?
I watched an interview with I think it was Sean from Autica, and he's like Autica are like one of my favorite electronic acts because they're like so out there, especially their newer ones, and I'm just amazed how intricate sounds they can make, and it always sounds so planned. But he said, well, we just try things out, and we only keep the good things, and the bad things never see the light of day. And there isn't usually a plan at the beginning, and that really stuck with me because I always try to go from the thing in my head and try to make that an audio file. But I think I just need to trust more the happy accidents and see where the flow takes me.
Yes, here we go. The flow once again. It's such a it's a mystery. It's a mystery because it's a magical thing that happens in your brain. And it's interesting. Brett, who I thought would be jumping on today, posed a really excellent question. I'll save that question for when he's on, about where does it come from? Are you notating from the ether? And some of the greats, like, Handel and Bach and those guys, and a lot of people, they'll say they've never written a song, they just receive it. And there's that's getting into Tesla territory, and we've talked about that before, man. That's one of my favorite subjects, is that where does it come from and how do you hook yourself into it? Well, I guess the really problematic thing, because you're asking how do you hook yourself into it, you're wanting a formula, but for every single person, it's a different plug. And you have to figure out what your plug looks like, and you have to figure out how to make your plug work. And then once you're tuned into it, you can start downloading and uploading, I guess. But this is something that Lynch talks about a lot. I just noticed my oil burner's not on, hence the vibe. Lynch talks about this a lot, and it's great. It's really like he talks about the concept of going further into the creative ocean to pull out bigger fish. And currently, something that's really on my mind a lot is risk, that I feel I'm not taking enough risk. Social media and stuff, I believe, doesn't want you to take risks, because it goes, here is something that you want. And I think want is contrary to risk. Like, want makes your brain go, process, plan. And that's great for finances. But when it comes to finances, come from an idea, from a product, and products come from ideas. And those crazy new ideas and new products, they seem to work better, I think, especially when you're sculpting air and decorating time like we do. It's important to go, okay, you know what, I'm I heard a Rick Rubin thing and it kind of reprogrammed my brain a bit. Man, that guy is on a roll right now. Rick fucking Rubin, telling you. And he said, make it a work to God. Make it a work to God. And I just thought, that's fucking great. Because I've been making it a work to my expectations and the audience and the DJs and the, you know, whoever for so long. Maybe I just should make this a work to God. And I will express God however I want. I was talking with a friend last night and we were exchanging Bible verses, but we were changing the word God with cat. So fear not, for I am with you, says the Lord Cat. And it sort of made sense. I'm going to make a note to myself to say, make your music an offering to God. This is my notepad, which once again, you can't fucking see. Why does this thing only let you show your face?
The government doesn't want them to know.
Fuckers. Alex, tell me something amazing.
I have just 2 modes of inspiration. The first one is lightning strike inspiration. The second one is like crafting or working out. The lightning strike is just an idea pops into my head while showering or just walking or...
At the worst possible time.
Yeah, usually, of course. And if you try to hum it, it sounds nothing like in your head, of course. Yeah, and the other one is like working it out and maybe going from a premise where you want to be. And sometimes you can logically make the conclusions. So like I have a fast part and a slow part and I want to transition. How do I do that? There are several options, which one is the best and so on. And sometimes it's just complete in your head. And it's difficult if you have the first one too much because you sort of get addicted to it because it feels like it's kind of powerful but also like motivating. And if it doesn't come, it's really hard to learn the second one.
Okay. Firstly, Flunk Tuition, thank you very much for your comment about what's the best way to bring musical gear into other countries. We'll get to that later. Right now, this is a really, I want to talk about this some more, that the horrible irony with the creative thing and getting inspired, like you said, sometimes it just comes from the ethos. For me, that is so rare. It's really fucking rare. It's like there's a chemical, I'll say this is, I don't want to say saliva, that's kind of gross. There's a chemical lubricant in your brain that goes, oh, yay, let's make stuff. But that chemical lubricant, that sounds gross as well, only happens when you start. Well, it usually happens when you start. For me, it's 99.9% of the time. I have to start. And it's like, that's why I've got to light the candles and make the oil burner happen and do all this stuff and make my coffee and go through the process to actually, you know, try and achieve this thing. Yeah, it's all about that fucking thing. So yeah, you got to do it.
Sometimes the stage of like a mindset of fuck it also helps me because like the example with the remix, I was working on it and some things didn't pan out as I wanted. Like I wanted to use distortion pedals, but I couldn't set the gain correctly. So it was always on 100% and I couldn't like fine tune it. But I just thought, okay, my original plans for the day were scrapped anyway. So I just keep on going and see where it takes me. And that really helped.
It's having the plan. It's all about motivation. Genius has power. Boldness has genius and power in it. Begin it now. You know, boldness has genius. Is that the correct bloody quote? It's Goethe. Boldness has genius and power in it. Begin it now. And that's a really amazing statement because boldness has genius and power in it. Begin it now. Wow, there's 4 really massive concepts. And the thing about it is it finishes it by giving you a command to say begin it now. And my thing is that you've got to say tomorrow morning or tomorrow at 4 p.m. or whatever, if your brain's like mine, I'm going to make music. And the trick is you don't play computer games, you don't watch YouTube, and you don't get on social media 2 hours leading up to it. Why don't you clean the fucking house? Why don't you do the dishes? Why don't you do something, listen to some music, so that when it comes time to make your music, your mind is cleansed from the internet? Because, dude, the internet is a wet blanket. Carl's going on his internet rant again. It's a wet blanket that just wants to fuck with you. And another question is, I guess, related to the current subject, I'd like to ask, I've heard that some people gain best their inspiration and motivation through extreme activities. Is there some truth in it? Maybe. I don't think that's healthy, because you become reliant on it. I don't think that it's I can't rely on inspiration or anything. If I can't write a song or do musical work when I don't want to do it at fuck o'clock, and without a deadline and without a budget and without any form of motivation, then this isn't going to work. Because you need to be able to make your music and your art. How do I put this? If you want a constant output, you've got to make your art even when you don't want to and you don't need to. You've got to constantly do it. Kino, welcome. I get inspired through boredom. Yeah. If I'm constantly feeding my brain with whatever is going to on the internet, I don't get ideas. Totally. I have to stare into space. Absolutely. It's really the cleanse, man. You got to get off that internet. But going back briefly to the extreme things, like people say, oh yeah, when you're heartbroken or something shitty's gone wrong, that's a great time for making music. No, it's not. I really don't think so. And so many people disagree with me on this. And it's like, my brain at least has to be clear that if I go through my life with my creative process depending on something fucked or awesome going on, like an extremity, then I personally think that's looking down the barrel of drug use. Because, and like, I've got a real, believe it or not, I'm crazy anti-drugs in the creative process, because that's going to become a hook. That's going to get your mind off the prize, which is shut the fuck up and make your goddamn art. And then be very loud about, hey, everyone, I made art, look at it. Alex, go.
If you have enough social anxiety, every normal conversation is extreme activity. But that aside, maybe it helps if you are so involved in the one thing that it keeps you from your self-conscious getting in the way of your creative process. So you just do the thing because you have so much on your mind that you don't feel like embarrassed at all, because it feels so minuscule compared to the thing you're going through. Yeah, and the other thing is, if I struggle to start, I just put random stuff into my sequencer. Like I wrote a song on sheet music back in the day as a teenager, and the first 2 bars were just me putting random stuff in, like slamming my keyboard, like maybe a cat going over it, and just putting away the notes that don't fit. That was the beginning. And I do the same sometimes with my sequencers, to just put in locks or triggers into random places and see how it sounds, and go from there.
I love it. Another great one is go for a walk. But 1,000 times. Get off the internet. It's the fucking Matrix, and it's turning your brain into sine waves of zero fucking inspiration. There's beta waves. What's the wave your brain puts out, which is just meh? Yeah, from beta to meh. You're putting out meh waves, and you don't give a fuck. Get off the internet. Go for a walk, breathe new air, see something different. Let your eyes focus on something that isn't this far away from your face. Leave your phone at home or take it with you just so you can monitor your steps. And when you are making art, get your phone, put it in the next room, and focus on your art. Because as soon as you go, oh, I'm not feeling this, you pick up your phone and you scroll through social media. Half an hour later, you still don't have a fucking idea. Just, you know, I one of my friends actually, when he gets in a rut and he's working, he just drinks water. And so he has to get up to pee all the time. And that is part of the process because he's getting up and he's walking to the bathroom and then he walks back. And that sounds really stupid, but it's actually really smart because that's the break you're taking away to get away from it. You're not looking at social media. You're not going to eat stuff. You're not doing anything. You're just drinking water and avoid alcohol. Alex!
Sometimes if I work on music and it goes well, I'm so excited that I need to go around the room in order to just settle down.
That's awesome. You know, you said something before that was really interesting about how if you have social anxiety, then everything's on order. It's interesting that so many artists, myself included, have crazy social anxiety. And I don't want to go outside because I'm scared. I'm not getting invited to any Halloween parties because all my friends hate me. Hey, if you're one of my friends in LA, fuck you for not inviting me to anything. Like, seriously. Yeah, so it's funny that that's the edge. And if I could, I don't know, I heard Neil Finn from Crowded House in Excess, who's one of the greatest fucking composers alive. And yes, he is from New Zealand, but we'll not worry about that. Once said how the thing that really fucking sucks for an artist is that because a lot of artists deal with depression issues, and I'm very, very careful and respectful of how I say this, but he was saying based on his he was just borderline with his depression at one point of his life, and the doctor said you could do Prozac or Zoloft or something, and he said how he chose not to do that because it narrowed the bandwidth of his life experience. And that narrowed the bandwidth of his song output. And I know so many artists who they're like this, and it's a neurological thing, and they're not in a position, like they have to be taking, you know, some kind of drug to calm it down. But there's a bandwidth, not up here, but it's kind of like the Goldilocks zone when their planets are swinging out to Pluto. But when it's in the Goldilocks zone, you know, in that habitable zone, they can work then. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Alex, save me. I'm prattling. Go.
I forgot what I wanted to say. Goldilocks zone. What were you talking earlier?
We were talking about depression and how much it fucking sucks.
Yeah. What I want to say that sometimes it's like easier to speak to a crowd than to a single person because the crowd sort of condenses into one mass, one thing. But if it's like one or two people, it's like much scarier. And also, if I'm in front of a crowd, I have like the good kind of adrenaline. Not that happens regularly, but if it happened, I was like always at my top. And that's maybe also a bit addicting. But yeah, somehow this performing feels much easier than just having normal conversations with people that I don't know very well, but feel are going to judge me.
And what's interesting is that I've got down here dealing with bad press and criticism. And that's really interesting that you say that you feel they're going to judge you. This is such a weird topic because it's like you want to be able to say, you know, all this stuff about, oh, don't worry about it. That's all in them. They're projecting on you. But that means jack shit at the end of the day, because they just fired a dart and that dart went through your fucking heart and you feel like shit now. So it's kind of weird. Because, you know, some people make music, a lot of people make music because they want to offer it to the congregation. They want to offer it to the tribe. And when the tribe goes, this isn't good enough. See, this is the really interesting thing is and then when they say it's not good enough, of course you want to change shit. We want to change course because you want to, you know, impress people. But that then goes into this terrifying cycle of you're going to start trying to impress people and people don't give a shit and you lose focus on who you are. And the well of magic water, you're a well. That's what you are. This thing where the magic water of life flows out of you. But the thing is that you have to burrow down into your true self so that that magic water may flow. When you start moving the well over there to what you think they want to be, you're no longer in contact with your magic water supply. And every single artist is going to do this, but you know, you start on your well because it's all you know. And when you're a teenager and you're young, it's easy to tap into that well and just let it gush forth from you. I love this an acronym, synonym. You know what I mean? Parable. Thank you. It's easy. And then, you know, you start talking to friends and family, worst thing to do. And then you don't like your water anymore, but it's your water and it's amazing. So you start moving your well. And then you tune into something that's not there, that's fake. It might be a sewer. I don't know. And then you're there for a few years and you hate it and people like it. Then they get disinterested and you're disinterested. And sometimes people give up. And sometimes people spend the next fucking 10 years going, where was my well again? Where was it buried in me? Who am I? All of these great fucking deep questions. Or you're with someone. It's the worst thing in the world. You're with your partner, your bandmate, your girlfriend or boyfriend, and then they say, oh, I don't like guitars. I like your stuff more when it had guitars. Or all of this stuff, and you're trying to, you know, please and impress them because you think they know what's best for you because they love you. Of course, that's bullshit. It's funny that to be an artist, you've got to be a stubborn bastard. You've got to be stubborn. And you've got to be this, you got your hands over your ears and you're screaming at people. I think that's what you need to be. And what you're screaming is, fuck off, shut up. And you got to get into the habit of screaming at people, fuck off and shut up. Because other people have absolutely no idea of what you are going through or trying to do. And this is once again where I will say, watch Close Encounters of the Third Kind, because it perfectly sums up an artist trying to create an idea or to verbalize an idea. This means something. There's something here. And you can't communicate it because people don't get it because they think you're crazy and you need to shut up and get a real job. Or write more EBM because the DJs aren't playing you. Or fucking whatever. And that ultimately you have to steer the course, no matter what fucking cost, to let the water from your well flow. And the crazy thing, and I'll fucking stand by this a million times, is that everybody hates their own art, whatever. But there are other people who see your stuff and they go, fucking, I love that. That is it. It hits the point. That's it. And artists are going to hear it and they're going to go, oh shit, mate, I love that stuff. You know, we have a conversation here so often about the flow and the inspiration and that shit. I never have it. And there's a couple of other people here, I think you're one of them, Alex, as well, who have so much difficulty tapping into that original pure thought process. And I'm going to let you talk now.
Trouble starting, but if I'm at it, like the last time I did music, it was like for 7 hours straight, and I didn't realize the time was flying by. But the trouble for me is like just starting and being okay that things in the beginning suck. But if I get somewhere that I like, it's like, whoosh, whoa, where's the time? Oh, it's 2 a.m. That's my problem. Something that also was my problem, but unfortunately not now, is not tapping into what inspires me, because nothing excited me. It was especially big during COVID lockdowns, but I had like nothing that really inspired me. And back then, meaning in my teenage years, it was just synthesizers through PAs that was the best thing ever. And yeah.
And once again, you've got to watch overload. You've got to watch information technology, social media, internet bullshit overload. Too much of that stuff changes your brain from active to sine wave to beta to meh. And everything you do must be an offering to God, because you are tapping into your true self, and whatever you want to define God as, that's great, because no one else can question you on that. It's like, fuck off. It's an offering to God. And that's the risk that I'm going to take now for ANGELSPIT'S new album and the next Ice Planet 9. Well, Ice Planet 9000 is always this opening of the third eye. That's the whole thing about Ice Planet 9000, is it's trying to create music that is tapping into enlightening and opening someone's eye. But now I want to do that with ANGELSPIT too, although perhaps not enlightening, probably coming into terms with your inner anger. I don't know. But, or that horror movie that I've always wanted to see. I don't know. But there's so many constrictions and there's so many expectations, and how many of those expectations actually exist versus how many of those expectations are fantasy that only exist inside my brain. I think it's the latter, because I'm full of shit. Go.
I've heard the quote that some people do like one track or album for the fans, one for the label, and one for themselves. And I think that's like maybe the way I would do it if I was a more proper musician, or maybe more professional musician. Because also, like, sometimes it's really it's also nice to have something made to fill a certain niche, but also sometimes it's good to just do things for the art, like not to be cool, not to impress yourself, not to feel great about yourself, but just do it for the art, because it needs to exist.
Absolutely. And that's what can be tricky sometimes, is the it can be tricky. But I think, yeah, man, absolutely, do it for the art. And Duran Duran, Depeche Mode, The Cure, it was a real 80s thing where they'd go, of a 9-track album, 3 would be hits, 3 would be for the 3 would be for the audience, and 3 would be for the band. So those three hits are going to hook people in. Then those 3 for the audience are going to be, if you're already a fan, these are for you. And the 3 for the band are the experimentation. It's like the inner sanctum of the tabernacle, of the holy church of the band, where you can go in there, and that's fucking around with ideas which may become hits on the next albums. But we're fucking around here. 7 and the Ragged Tiger, man. What an album. What a fucking album. Hello, Corby Malice. Sorry, I'm really bad with weird names. Not that your name is weird, but just call yourself Dave. You see, Kino, I can get Kino. Yeah, but anyway. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on that subject. And Carl being a loud, outspoken twat.
Then shipping synthesizers internationally?
Oh, Christ. All right. So, thanks, Mel. I love Mel. Mel's good. I can do Mel. It's really funny in the goth thing that none of us are goth. We're not goths. We're not goths. But it's just funny how you get stuck with like this weird name when you're a teenager. And then you're 50 and you're still being called Zoog. I know I got Zoog when I was how old was I? I got one with that name, early 20s, and that was before I'd even been in a goth club. Long story. It was an internet handle. Anyway, okay, shipping shit overseas. My God. How much shit? If you're talking like shipping container, I can't deal with that because I have to do that and I can't deal with it.
I think there was a question in the chat before. That's why I was.
Yes, there was. So I think in the US you can import anything under the value of $1,000. You can pack the fuck out of it. If it's on tour, there's a document you need. What's the document called? That you're entering with it and you're leaving with it. And that's depends on which airline you fly. Some will allow carry-on instruments for free. Yeah. If you're going to do it like that. And also, if you're carrying stuff on, make sure it fits in the overhead rack. If it doesn't, it's going to go in the hull. So you can actually take a guitar onto the plane. Didn't know that. I'm thinking more shipping stuff. Yeah, look, I'm pretty useless on that shit. Like if you're going on a tour, that's something different. Like that is a horrendous clusterfuck. My thoughts on it is minimize your gear. That's the first thing. Minimize the fuck out of your gear so it everything fits into standard luggage. And there's a declaration for taking gear in and out of countries that you may need. And they're going to open it. Securities are going to open it. And if it looks like a modular synthesizer, they're going to open it up and start cutting shit. I had stored
better. But
sorry?
Maybe things have gotten better because Eurorack sort of exploded. And I think when you started,
well,
it was like
on a plane and exploded. That's the problem. So I actually learned that the trick with getting through customs with a synthesizer, because I got to the stage where I was taking mine on carry-on, they'd open it up and they'd look at it and they would start scrutinizing it. The trick with it is you go, okay, I need to tell you about this stuff. Okay, thank you, sir. And then you go into great detail about the WASP filter. It was originally invented in England and it was a toy. And then you go into, and they go, okay, thanks, sir. And I go, okay, the next one. This is a Moog one. Of course, it's American, And then they just go, get out of here. But you must go, I purchased a $200 lockable Waterford program handle system. Oh, yeah, you've got a fucking 8,000. Good on you, Rob. Yeah, you go into the greatest of detail with the customs official. No, and it's like, hey, no, I need to tell you about this. This is history. This is important. And they also go, okay, this guy's a harmless nerd, blah, 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 blah. But I'm always worried about that part. Making sure that it's and gator cases are great as well. I usually cable tie. There's a little lock mechanism on it where you can cable tie them. And I'd go to airports with spare cable ties, and I'd and it wouldn't be closed off. And as I was going through the scanning thing, I'd say, do you want to look at this right now? And I'm going to stand here with you. And then once you've okayed it, we're going to close it and I'm going to cable tie it shut just to make sure it doesn't come open by accident and my fucking gear doesn't get wrecked. That's it. And usually they're cool with that. There are flight cases and stuff you can get that are, I think it's about 4 or 5 units high, maybe 6 might be the max, that will go standard. When it starts getting into 9, because my gated case is 9. No, it's 12. 9 or 12 or something. I think it's 10 units high. And that's too big, and it's always fucking around at airports. That's one of the reasons I fucking hate touring. It's gear. I fucking hate gear. Bullshit with customs. Yeah, fucking hate it so passionately. So anyway, yeah, and that's all international. If you're going within the US, you know, I know other bands who everything fits in a suitcase. Do that. One suitcase for gear, one suitcase for merch. There you go. Easy.
The editor of Synthesizer magazine is also like an electronic musician on the side. It's like this German magazine just for synthesizers, and he has like just one of these padded cases, and just has like everything cable tied to this case, and it just opens up, and he has his mixer, he has his sequencer, his drum machines, and he also like prefers smaller synthesizers. Like he has there are like these new Roland ones which are like the size of this. And he says it may not be as nice to tweak, but he prefers to have it all in one place.
Yeah.
Than having to carry on so much stuff.
Yeah.
He has like a Jupiter 6, some parts of Moog modular, Matrix 12, but the stuff he takes with him is just light and affordable.
Yeah. People used to say that to me on tour. It's like, why don't you bring your modular? And it's like,
why don't you bring your modular?
Yeah. Why doesn't your mum bring her modular? Like, the amount of fucking around that is involved. And plus the thing's probably going to get wrecked. I'm just not doing that. I mean, like if you're going to do a road tour and you're chucking it in the back of a truck or a van, well, then you want to be careful because that thing's going to be bouncing up and down in the back of a truck or a van for a week or a month or something. So you got to make sure it's well fucking padded. Yeah. It's really funny that I'm often going, I really want to tour again. I've got to tour again. I've got to get out and tour again. And I'm starting to think about touring, and there's parts of the touring puzzle that are coming together for me. And then we have conversations like this, and I'm like, nah, I'm not fucking doing it. I'm not doing it. So here's a question, if I may, is can live streaming replace touring? Or can it be, I mean, like touring is like a big meal. Can live streaming be a snack on the side?
I think rather the second than the first, because for me it feels totally different. Like I've been to live streams and enjoy live stream concerts, but being in there is just a whole different experience.
Yeah.
Just getting there, waiting in line, getting mentally ready for it. And when I'm listening to a concert, I'm sometimes texting friends on the side and doing other things. But if I'm there, I feel the sound. I'm right there. It feels different for me, at least. Maybe other people see that differently, but I think it can be a great not substitute, but add-on, because you can do in a live stream things you can't do in a concert, and
it's kind of like that. It's weird.
Sorry.
No, go.
The best thing with live streaming is to use the strength of the medium and not try to make it like a concert, but like a venue, but to make it as a whole different experience that is tailored to its strengths rather than its weaknesses.
I think you're right. I think you're very right. Yeah. Streaming, yeah. I've got a gig. I'll be really honest, I don't want to gig, but I've got a gig. Like walking out the front door for me is terrifying. Like I have crazy crowd anxiety. Dealing with drunk people because bands get drunk. Dealing with all of this shit. It's yeah. Yeah. I just wish I wish I fucking had a team. I really, God, Jesus, fuck, I wish I had a team. Who would go, okay, we're gonna do this together, as opposed to Carl doing fucking everything.
Yeah, just by yourself is very tough.
Yeah, and dragging everyone along with me. Although I used to, the team I had in Chicago were great. Like, you know, Brian from the Gossicles would go out, Matt, he was awesome. And then when we pulled Scott from Poor Star to do merch and logistics, like, holy shit, we were a good team. That was a good team. That's why I did a lot of touring in Chicago, because I had a team. But I don't know, pandemic sort of fucked everything around. I'm starting to make connections again. Mal asks, I know that was someone else. Flunk tuition. If you were to live stream instead of making concerts, would you sell live stream tickets? Does that kind of app exist? Yes, the app exists. No, I'd make mine free. And I do something else, which is I'd have a merch discount. So if you wanted to buy merch during the stream, it was discounted. And Alex, you know, you are very right. There are some super fun things you can do in a live stream that you can't do live, like really cool things. And I remember during the pandemic, like I was streaming every 2 weeks, every week. I went through my live stream thing. It's like, fuck, I did so many live streams. Yeah, I would, I think that, there's a lot of things about live stream that I would like to figure out how to incorporate live, because it's super cool.
Yeah, I think the problem, sorry,
No,
the
go.
problem is that this sector isn't yet mature, so the solutions are always a bit wonky, and you can get really great results if you shell out big bucks with like video mixers and so on. But sometimes like software like OBS is a bit has a mind of its own.
Yeah, I had this problem. Like I was using this MIDI thing to flip between all the different cameras. So I was sending MIDI messages to, and that was great. But the problem is it didn't always work. And I could never figure out why the fuck isn't it working today? And I would have to like boot up everything hours before the stream and fuck around. And that's another thing as well, is that live and live streaming would be great if everything worked. And so you could go on really focused, but the amount of times that I did a gig or something and shit wasn't working, and it's not, oh, a light isn't working. It's a big fucking deal. Something isn't talking to something else. And you're standing there at a laptop going, why the fuck aren't you fucking working? And the stage manager is going, you're on in 3 minutes. And it's like, fuck. And sure, there's always a backup plan and everything, but it's like,
yeah, I think like for me, backup plans are like voodoo magic to keep the bad things from happening, because if you have the backup, the bad thing usually doesn't happen. Only happens when backup.
I would have two different backup options, and like the worst fallback was always your phone. You got the set on the phone, you plug the phone and go. But anyway, Good fun. Figure that
Do you want to
shit out.
talk a bit more about the gig or rather not?
I don't know. I'd like to I got to figure out what to do.
Mm.
I've got to figure out how to do it. Because I've moved, I haven't I don't know, although it should be fine. Doing a loud vocal and stuff. And the internet here is really good. So I've got really fast upload speed, but I was thinking about doing like an Ice Planet thing or something like that.
Yeah, I always thought that maybe you could go to maybe, I don't know if there's certain venues, but I've seen like meetups where there are people just doing modular gigs
Mm.
and maybe bring a small case or something.
Yeah, that mean I'd have to pull shit apart. I don't know.
Uh,
Something I did want to do around LA was just turn up with a backing track and say, okay, I'm going to do 3 songs. And I'm still like Carl on stage, 3 songs, go. Hey, here's Brett.
would you ever gig as Ice Planet 9000?
That would be an ANGELSPIT gig. If I was going to do like a more elaborate live stream, it would be probably Ice Planet 9000. But if I was going to do the live thing, I'd do ANGELSPIT. I don't know how to do Ice Planet 9000 live. Hi, Brent. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going today?
Good. Talking about live gigs. So yeah, I'm not sure about. I have to get back into it because I've lost my voice a bit, just because reasons. And I've got to get that focused and operating again. But you know, once that's there, I would love to do, you know, guerrilla style things. Wow, talking about live shit really gets me down. Sorry, that just brought everything down. Hey Brent, while you're here, Brett, if you want, we can talk about your the question you brought up.
Yeah, it was just kind of a curiosity.
Do your lyrics come from somewhere, someone else? For me, it feels part art, automatic writing as someone who was trying to talk to spirits or something would describe. Fucking, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
I threw the floor open.
I just kind of noticed that. I don't know. Like when I'm writing lyrics and such, it just kind of, I don't know. Sometimes it feels like it's not all me.
That's amazing. Congratulations on that. What's that like? But keep talking.
So so as I'm going through it, I noticed that I'm very intent about it. But what I end up thinking of as I go through it, it's not my normal way of thinking. It's like, I don't know. It's not. It's kind of like you're being fed something.
That's amazing. Awesome. I'm going to throw this to Alex.
Yeah, I have to say, I have to agree, because sometimes I write lyrics and read them and thought, wow, which comrade wrote that? So that's like, it doesn't feel like my political opinion, but it just came out of me. And it's sometimes scary, and I haven't really published anything that was written that way, but it happened to me several times that what I wrote was much more not aggressive, but much more extreme than what usually. But maybe it's because you can't really write a measured song. Like maybe we should improve things a bit. It doesn't go so well with I don't know, Archimedes melodies.
That's awesome. It's really great that you guys are connected to this thing. Either sometimes or all the time or intermittently. That's great. If you were to give somebody advice on how they could possibly do that too, what advice would you give somebody who's having trouble connecting to that power source?
Where I found it most notable or most noticeable was like on the latest track that I shared with you. The concept for that is a little different than the demon hate typically goes after. So most of the time I'm trying to create a monster. And on this one, I wanted to tell a story from the perspective of an angel, a watcher's type angel. And he's talking to somebody about what he sees. And so in that regard, I wasn't angry. I wasn't in my usual headspace. And it became more noticeable when I was writing the lyrics and going through the music over and over again and fitting everything up. And then it's just kind of like, oh, well, why did I have that thought? And wait a minute, what's going on here? So how you get there is kind of like, in this case, maybe you're out of your element.
Okay. Is it as if, because when you said you were writing from the perspective of something else, that's interesting. So maybe trying something like that, like trying to write like something else.
And that would be normal for what I do. Like it's just normally it's done from that perspective of a demonic entity, one of man's creation. So I kind of have like this weird little mythology of my own stuff. But this time it was kind of like, instead of it just being, fiction, it's just kind of like, I don't know. And it's not always, I'm not going to say just this time, but sometimes it feels like there's just a tap or something in your head. It's like, here's an idea.
Yeah, well, because like my question is for people who can't find the tap or turn it on, what could help them achieve that? Alex, I see your hand.
So my problem is that I can't turn it off, so I also can't tell you how to turn it on. It's just constantly something is working in my brain, and sometimes that's useful, often it's not, because I need to focus on other things. But maybe if you're one who daydreams, try to just keep that going and write everything down you that pops into your head.
That's good advice. Having something to write your ideas down on, and actually practice the idea of having a tap, perhaps, and practice the idea of catching what flows from it. See, we're talking about the well again, which is good. This is good, Brent. Brett, go on.
I think something that's mentioned there was also useful. It is kind of like a daydream. It does kind of feel like that. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, I would daydream a lot. And I don't really feel like that anymore as an adult. But there's still something there that is kind of like that when I'm doing lyrics, especially.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm not, my lyrics are like giving birth to razor blades. It is a hard, long, arduous process. It's really difficult, and it's really, there are so many rewrites, and it's, I always find myself asking, what the fuck is this song actually about? Because it's usually the song is everything is fucked. And it's like, I'm trying to, like that's the subject, the content of the lyrics is saying everything's fucked. And it's like, well, do we want to focus on one thing in particular that we think's fucked? Like, do we want to be offering solutions? Do we want to be offering some funny a parable or something to lighten the mood of how everything is fucked? Yeah, I really, so when people say, oh, just go with the flow, it's like, well, I want to hear about this. I want to hear more about the flow. Wow, interesting. Go with the flow. I just realized that says flow. I've never really made that connection. Alex, hit me.
My problem is that the first splatter of inspiration is free, but going from there is really hard. because you need to more than just maybe 5 words, or maybe a line or two, but have like a whole song, and that's where I struggle. Also, sometimes I have inspiration for things I don't want to write. Most of the time, it's like this parody of Nine Inch Nails called "I Am Trent Reznor," where there was this one line, "I'm a sad and twisted lonely man," and I feel like if I just start writing that comes out, because sometimes that's a bit far from the truth. But I don't want to be the person who writes songs about how bad I feel all the time, because that's not what I want to be about. So that's also something I struggle with.
I will say that Ren has made a very good career. Do you know him? UK artist. He's mostly hip hop, but
Yeah, but I don't really want to be that person, and it doesn't also feel like I'm that person, or like I have so much new things to say, or much, I don't know.
See, if this character or person, if they were going to be planning a bank heist, and the reason they're doing the bank heist is because they hate corporations, what would that song look like? And usually, often, when you get those 5 words, that's the chorus or hinting towards the chorus. Thinking about how choruses are usually the answer to the question or the problem. The verses pose the problem. And the chorus offers the answer. And sometimes that answers more problems, or it's not a nice answer, whatever. So as far as, that having that little light that is an inspired idea that sparks a song, awesome. That was some ideas for fuel that might spark it. But yeah, I don't know. Very rarely do I get, no, it's hard for me, but that's okay. Because as far as process go, man, I'm the fucking king of process. I got the process down, and maybe that's part of my problem, is that I've become too process reliant. That my thing now is trying to find that flow, and I can't just go with the flow, because I just can't do that, because my brain, that's not what my brain's doing right now. Alex,
going back to Rick Rubin, have you ever tried the trick to just pick out a book, opening a random page and tapping in one word and writing, or maybe one sentence and writing from there?
I haven't tried that. I will give that a rip. Because something I do like doing is going somewhere random, or, luckily Hollywood Boulevard's got so many characters on it, and just looking at a person, not obviously because they might punch you or stab you, and trying to think what their story is, and adding that. Hold on, what I'm going to do just before I throw it to you, Alex, I think I saw Brett's hand. Talk to me, Brett.
So my process is a little bit different, and in a lot of ways incorrect. I don't, as you've noticed, I'm not super concerned about typical song structures. That doesn't make for high marketability, but it's just the way my brain works. So when I'm writing lyrics, they're kind of like little short stories, and I'm trying to walk the listener through a tale. That for me is kind of what I find like going with the flow, and in that kind of regard, that's how it feels for me. Like I said, it's not super marketable in that regard, because you don't get that challenge response. You don't get that hook in there that can, everybody can sing along to. But I think at least for me, it feels like I'm more tapped into what's actually happening as the song grows.
Awesome. That sounds great. Thank you. Maz, welcome. I'm just going to throw this to Mr. Alex for a moment. or 20 moments.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that your lyrics are appreciated nonetheless, like they always pop into my mind randomly, and also see them quoted on Tumblr several times.
Really? Oh, but that's probably from like the first 2 albums though.
That and Black Dog Bite also. It's like, I
Wow.
think
That album was so popular.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed that album was so popular. Satanic Aesthetic is still ANGELSPIT'S biggest track. And now Sexy Tragic Muse is climbing. This is like 7 years old. 6 years old? It's so
and one of the things about the algorithm.
yeah,
Maybe
it's
someone put it on TikTok, I don't know.
yeah. And I just can't. I thought that Sexy Tragic Muse worked because the videos had nuns in it. But I don't. I mean, not Sexy Tragic Muse, Satanic Aesthetic. But I've broken that song down, and it's like, yeah, okay, I understand why. I understand why people will gravitate towards it, and I think at the time, it's a funny story because the song was the bass line was way more elaborate. The song was way more elaborate, but I got to the 11th hour and I went, I fucking hate this. It's too cerebral, and there was a moment in the song where I had a fill, like it was a 1-bar fill, and because I'll do that with a song is that I'll make a bunch of fills. Like after I record everything, I'll just do like 4 different little fills and I'll drop them in. And one of the fills was like, oh, that's fucking deadly, and I just ended up the whole song was that fill. 1-bar fill just over and over again. And I put a 4 on the floor under it, I think. But yeah, I just went, fuck it. Thank you, Mini Moog. Maz, welcome. But yeah, no, thanks. But I've spent so much fucking time on lyrics. Like, you know, I know people who are like, first verse of lyrics, that's how it goes. And I read them and it's like, dude, you're blessed. Other people, I read them and it's like, dude, you should probably look at draft 5 or 6 on these. These are not ready. But no, I fucking works really hard on lyrics. And I think I need to, I'm starting to experiment with more instrumental ANGELSPIT. I want to get back to ANGELSPIT instrumentals. Like every album used to have 2 or 3 instrumentals on them. And I realized the last few albums didn't have any instrumentals. So I want to do more instrumentals and really, really, really focus on, because we had a conversation the other week about sound design and loops and shit. Really focus on that side of things. Like, because if the song has a vocal, I'll easily spend 60 to 80 hours on it. If it doesn't have a vocal, maybe it's 40 hours. But I've just kind of thought, because, you know, writing the lyrics, doing the demo vocals, doing the final vocals, editing, recording, and fucking around with vocals, it's more than 20 hours worth. It's a lot of work. But I've just thought, look, I'm going to take instrumentals and I'm going to develop them to the degree that I would develop a vocal and really, really, really push it. Alex, talk to me.
The thing that fucked me up was that the first lyrics I wrote came out almost in one inspiration blob. Not perfectly, but quite good. And I sort of changed this expectation until like very recently. Yeah, I think just going more methodically about it is, I think, the way to go. And maybe just collecting things and then assembling them.
I try with my lyrics to have several different and Maz, please put your hand up if you want to jump in. Several different like notepads going. Like these ideas are all about how much I hate corporations. This notepad's all about how much I hate corporations more, etc. But yeah, variants. And I've tried to write happy love songs, just doesn't work. Sorry, Maz, go.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to the giving birth to razor blades thing. It's really tough. Like I keep this notepad by my bed specifically so I can just like before bed just like get all my thoughts out, hopefully rhyming. And I haven't done that in a few nights, and I tried to do it last night, and I was just struggling, but I got something out, which is good. It's tough, yeah.
I something that works for me, and I've got to be really careful because it's like dodging through minefields, is I will put on a YouTube video, and you guys know how I feel about YouTube because it's a drug to me. That is somebody giving a political rant about something, and me writing down my thoughts about it. And the more I disagree with it, the better it is. Hi, Chris. Good to see you. That's my thoughts anyway. Brett.
We were talking about the notebooks there, and along the lyrics lines. I just had a memory, and I thought it was kind of fun. So I had this fountain pen, and most of the shell had broken, right? And so what I did is I went and I got a thing of dragon's blood ink, just shoved the nib in it, and then I wrapped the whole pen in gauze and medical tape. And I would write my lyrics in a blank book with that pen. Well, because most of the lyrics never really actually made it to songs, I got bored one day, and I'm like, all right, some of these I like this bit here, and I like this bit here, and I like this bit over here. And so I had just learned about psychological profiles, and mine at the time was heavily INFP. So what I did is I grabbed all these bits of songs. I named the song INFP, and they were just little samples of my own poetry, if you will. It ended up coming out really cool.
That's cool.
It was kind of early ogreish in the way he wrote his lyrics. Yeah, it was pretty neat.
Another really nice thing to do is if you have a physical book, try and make it look like the Kevin Spacey's character from Seven, John Doe, like the murder book, with transparencies and weird shit in it, and all of that stuff feeds into concept, feeds into concept album, feeds into everything, and that may help too. I've personally find that shit does help, and then you like sew it all together and make it look as freakoid as possible. Maz, what you got?
Yeah, I definitely have to do some of that because I have countless different physical notebooks plus my phone notepad, and yeah, like you said, with trying to get all the different concepts, because like there's concepts that appear on different ones, but I have to do the thing of like putting them on the wall and having the strings and looking like I'm trying to solve a murder.
I love the fucking, I say go the Post-it notes, go the strings, and put it on the wall and make it look like you're posting a murder, and then take photos.
Yeah,
Because that's, man, there is something about a song or a piece of art that feels like there's a history behind the song. And that's like, it's not just this 2-dimensional thing or 3-dimensional thing or 4-dimensional thing. It reaches back, and that's why I fucking love Pink Floyd, and I love there are some albums, and there's a lot of electronic albums that have got this. There's something else going on here. Like there's every time you put it on, there's a spirit, and the spirit is in the room with you while you listen to the album. And I am endlessly attracted to that. I think that's just lovely. Alex, hit me.
What really worked well for me is going all digital because I really hate my own handwriting and it's so messy that it distracts me. yeah, I think that was for me the thing that made things better. Second thing, the last lyric I wrote was just for exercise about the mall where I used to get ice cream as a kid, which was fun. But I think that will never see the light of the day. And the third thing, sometimes I'm afraid that people will psychoanalyze me because of my lyrics or using my lyrics. Do you feel the same or not, or do you have any idea how to get over it?
Yeah, don't worry about that. Which is the worst thing when somebody says I have a problem. You go, oh, don't worry about that. Like, I'm sorry, that what I just said was very shitty. You know, I had a legitimate fear that, when I entered a country, customs were going to look at my lyrics and go, nope, you're not coming in. And that is kind of slightly based in truth. I was concerned that my lyrics were a prophecy for myself at one point, and I was really just nervous about, I mean, isn't that weird to say that? Because I noticed that like 2 albums ago, everything I was writing about was coming true. And then I thought, oh my God. My thought now is fuck it, don't care. And don't just do it. Don't fucking care. Because people probably won't, because they don't give a fuck, no offense. They don't give a fuck about you. They give a fuck about themselves, or their own personal turmoil is so huge that they don't have the neurological capability of thinking that, well, maybe Alex is a psycho because his lyrics are really psycho. They can't think about that. They just can't. And I'm not dissing people. It's just that there's so much going on now. So my thought is just fucking do it. Just do it. Just fucking do it. Somebody else talk to me. Or Maz, go.
I feel like that's sort of the beauty of like being able to have as many drafts as you want, because like then you can pick and choose, like you can be as crazy as you want on the first draft. You can be like a literal psychopath on the first draft. It doesn't have to see the light of day. And also I really like that exercise of writing about the mall that you ate ice cream at. I feel like that's also a good advice for like how to get over that how horrible it is, because like yeah, it can really warm you up to being able to get to what you're really feeling if you start out just like with some light, silly, fun stuff.
And I'll just say that if you'll say I'm at the mall eating ice cream, the next line can be, and I'm watching you shop for underwear. Or something really, really, really fucked up. Or I'm watching you shop for, I don't know. Something benign. Yeah, something benign is even more creepy. Because sporting goods or something, I don't know. Because the point of it is, and then you go into how you're holding onto that ice cream and it's dripping down your hand because you stopped licking. The ice cream's dripping down your hand. And the chorus could be, it's dripping on the floor and I'm watching you. Oh, that's nice. I used to love doing really fucking creepy lyrics. I used to love that shit, but I don't do it anymore. Now, it's interesting coming back to what you're saying, Alex, is that I don't do that anymore because I'm so afraid of being cancelled, or I'm so afraid of if something happens, or if somebody chooses to villainize me, they can go, oh, look at his lyrics. And that's one hell of a dark road to go down, because it's not just, it's my head that's fucked. It's the collective consciousness of our fucked society that's really fucked. So, maybe I should write lyrics like that. And my walls are covered in the skins of cancellers. How's that? I like that lyric. Gut you as you're screaming for your righteousness or something. Alex, or I live stream you while I gut you or something. I don't know. Influencer. Alex, go.
I don't know, maybe it helps, but what I did when I felt like I was writing too many lyrics about how sad I am is that I turned it around and made it not about myself, but about somebody else. Or maybe if I feel victimized, I turned up the perspective. Or like I felt hunted, so I made it from the perspective of the hunter. I mean, I still need to finish that thing, but that's some strategy that I found.
That's awesome. And another cool fun thing to do as well is if there's a keyword, for example, you're talking about how much you hate someone, use a different word like love you. But love you while I bludgeon you or whatever. I bludgeon you into new life. I don't know. Just swap shit around like that and inject wicked fucked up humor. Because my whole thing is, man, people piss their pants over lyrics. Oh no, you said that. And meanwhile, they're watching Game of Thrones or some really mega fucking violent shit. Blah. People are fucked. But they do taste good. Brett?
I think personally that if we're pissing people off with songs, then we're doing our jobs.
Yep.
You know, it's not, we're not doing this in real life. Go ahead and think I'm a psychopath. You want to see how psychopathic I am as I'm raising chickens, quail, and all that other stuff in real life? You know? So fuck it. Yeah, I have a demonic industrial band, and it's what I do for fun. It doesn't hurt anybody, never has hurt anybody. It's just imagination and stories. So no, the more vicious and vile or whatever tools, you know, they're all just tools. You know, you have 3 to 4 minutes typically to get your audience from point A, point Z. Use every weapon in the quiver. Machi thought. Machi said something.
I really like you just said how these words are just imaginary. And my first thought was, but the nails going under your fingernails are not. Right. But because the lighting on you right now says psycho. Like I'm just finding out that your lighting is very effective.
Yeah.
Anyway, so no, that's great. That was fun. And that's the joy of exploring horror. And you know, figuring out, you know, how can I put that spirit in the room? And it's good fun. It's very good fun. Okay, does anybody want to pick up on that or go somewhere else? Or
I was gonna say, you know, a little bit more, you know, it's like above me here are hanging like crazy ass masks. I've got Reaper size in the corner, a whole knife collection sitting back there, including swords and medieval weaponry. The whole room is designed to get me into a headspace.
But what you really need is a baby bonnet. That if you were wearing, oh, I just happen to have one right here. Seriously? No, it's got to be a baby bonnet. Because that would be psychotically terrifying. Like that's straight up. She puts the ointment on her skin. Like that's straight up.
Let me get the oil.
Yeah, no, please. And then we've got an 18 rating on this, so it's fine. Let's go.
I'm kidding.
Were you?
All
right, hold on. Alex, there we go. The Joe we could do. Now, Alex, talk to me.
Well, these styles of lyrics don't come natural to me. I feel I agree in the way that I think art should be more visceral, or at least music should be more visceral, because I feel like there's so many bands and it feels so not paint by numbers, but like not very also risky, but also very confined and very safe. And yeah, it's difficult because like I want to try to be more to do more interesting vocal stuff. But if I'm in front of my band, it's just so difficult to break out of that. Like I want to do like this crazy vocal slides and so on, sing really high and then low, but I can't do it, and it's difficult. But yeah, sorry, I'm rambling, but that's something.
That's all right. Two things. One, somebody wrote in the comments that a really nice chorus is just "I'm watching you," and my thought is yes, and the second line has to be "and you're so fucking boring." I'm watching you, and you're so benign. As far as the band goes, Alex, like if you're in a situation where you don't feel supported, encouraged, or safe to musically experiment, you need to address that. You need to bring it up with your band, because you cannot be in a band with people who are sarcastic, cynical eyeball rollers. They got to go, or you've got to go. Because if you're in a situation like that, you're wasting your time. And the longer, look, man, I'm sorry, being honest, the longer you stay there, the more damage you are going to do to yourself as a creator. Because bad attitude, I'm not assuming, I am. People with bad creative attitudes and non-supportive, encouraging attitudes are the most deadly, contagious virus in the artistic being that there is. You have, and there's no vaccination or there's no cure. Well, the cure is you got to get them the fuck out of your life. People who are like that must go. Spouses, brothers, sisters, parents, you got to cut them out. And if it's, I'm not playing you my music anymore, we're not going to talk about it, fine. But you cannot be around anyone who is infected with that disease.
Luckily, they are all sweethearts, but it's mostly something in my head because it happens to.
Then you should talk to them about that. You should go, guys, I'm having a problem. And dude, if they're sweethearts, then fucking stay there. You need that. But man, it's, you know, you should have a conversation. Look, guys, I'm really enjoying this. We're getting along really well. I want to do something, but I don't have the confidence. And it might end up being, well, we're going to go to someone's house, or you're going to pull the bass player in who you trust or something. I want to do this. Oh, fuck, man, that's great. Let's work on that. And it might be a case of they might say, look, if you feel not confident about getting that note, rising up there to get the note, then the guitar might move up there with you. So it's you and the guitar together, or some weird sample or something. Because by you saying, I want to do something crazy, they might go, hey, well, I want to do something crazy too. In fact, I'll tell you right now, they do. I will shut up and throw it to Mez.
Yeah, for me, it's this whole idea of like playing with masks and different identities, because I do use different characters. And yeah, like even in the lyrics that I was writing last night, I was sort of struggling with like, do I say, because I'm talking about like hurting someone, like do I say that I'm hurting someone? Will people, it sort of goes back to the idea of like, are people gonna psychoanalyze and say that they have an issue with me now because like I'm admitting that I want to hurt someone? And like the idea of like, how can I manipulate that to, I don't know.
You're only doing this to yourself. You forced my hand. This is, I'm disciplining you now because I love you. Like shit that. Like that. It's got to the carrot didn't work, the stick didn't work, but now I'll use the machete. Or something like that. The like carrot don't work, the stick don't work, so now I'll use the machete. That's very you as well.
Yeah, that's jaunty.
Yeah.
I got a line where I say, I'm going to fill you with glass so I can break you again.
Ooh.
Love it. Or I'm going to stick you in the freezer for a few days so I can shatter you. again. I like it. Anyway, so remember that the greatest trick in your lyrical arsenal is humor. And you can say anything you want as long as it's funny. If it's fucked up and funny, you can say anything. Because if anyone questions, you go, "Oh, dude, I was kidding." Or you go, "No, actually, I really meant it. And I was laughing so hard when I wrote that terrifying thing. Say that instead." Humor. Humor will allow you to, and in fact, the more fucked up it is, and the more humor you apply to it, the even more fucked up it becomes. Because humor is, if you want to get a message across, man, humor. Humor shall fuck thee. That's what I think anyway. Does anybody else want to jump in on this road of amazingness? Maybe.
Ronald? Yeah,
All right. Sounds like we're good. Do we want to wrap up because it's do we want to wrap up? We're kind of at that time, and maybe we should. Okay, we're gonna wrap up. Thank you everybody for joining us here in the illustrious place of space. I really need to stop streaming to Facebook, but big hi to whoever is watching on Facebook right now. I need to figure out how to fucking stream to Instagram. But anyway, and just so people can scroll past it, like really, that's give you something else to ignore. Okay, so firstly, I want to say again, next week, Art of Rock will be here, same place, same channel. Daylight savings is starting to happen because Chris is on Facebook. Thank you, Chris. Daylight savings is going to be happening soon, so the international timing is going to get a bit jiggered. This has been made possible with ANGELSPIT'S Patreon. Thank you so much for being on my Patreon. It can be $3 a month, which is less than you tip your waiter, and you're going to help me encourage you and encourage other people and me. I don't know, do weird shit that I like to do. ANGELSPIT'S new album is The Bastard Gods, and it's on BANDCAMP now. Go get it.
Can I shout something out for me?
Sure.
I have my release is finally out. It's called the All Hail EP by Max Malata.
Can you put that in the link? In the link of the chat. Put it in the link of the chat.
And I'll share that.
That would be excellent.
Yeah.
You've got an EP. Okay, this is good. And we've been waiting for this release for quite a very, very long time.
Yes, a few years.
Excellent. Well, no, it's here now. It's here. It takes time. You get it done.
Yeah.
Okay. Just before while you're doing that, the Industrial Incisions playlist is there. That's on Spotify. Okay, and Maz, can you also send me the one of your tracks? Email it to me, and I'll add it to the Industrial Incisions playlist.
Will do.
There it is. So that's new, Maz's new track. Please check that out and like it and follow it. And that's going to be on the that's also going to be on the Industrial Incisions playlist. If you see any new bands you like, follow them. Follow them. And right now, we are going to raid on over to MTV TV. This is going to be fun because Diana's not around. I hope she's okay. And there's really some awesome stuff. So follow that link there to the MTV TV's Twitch. We're all going to raid over there right now as soon as I get this raid happening, because I can do this and I believe in my ability to raid to MTV TV. I can do it. Here we go. I'm going to try several different ways of doing this raid. One of them is going to be from here, which I don't know if I can do. I think I just started a raid. The other one is by maybe doing this or something. God, this
You need to be 10 toes down, like.
great things going on there. Okay, here we go. This is me attempting to do this thing. I believe in myself. I can do this. I can do this. This is fantastic. Fantastic. Where the fuck is the chat button on this? Oh, God. Chat there. Okay, boom. I think I just initiated a raid. If that doesn't raid, just follow the link to MTV TV. Just do it, because that's where we're going. And let me know if that raids or not. I'm going to put this closing screen on. We will see you next week, same time, same channel. Like ANGELSPIT'S Twitch, by the way, because we're going to be there. Oh, and also there's a remix for Julius out. Damn it, you should tell me that before. Which I'll put here, because I think we're rating. I am so together right now. Look at me, together. Just all of this crazy shit. It's great fun, isn't it? Portion of the screen. There it is. Next week, my lovely children, and we're going to hang back here and talk for a while. And I'm going to ask everybody to unmute your mics because we're just going to have a chat. Let me know, has it rated yet?
Yeah.
It rated?
Yep.
Happy day. Okay, cool. I'm going to...
It's about to.
It's about to? It's crazy. Well, I'm just going to hold on while we raid or not. And next weekend, next Saturday, I think Art of Rock's on. We'll find out. Most likely it is, but if it isn't, I'll let you know. But it usually is. Have we raided yet?
In 2 seconds or so.
2 seconds or so.
Now.
We just raided. Bam. Okay, you rock. See you next week.